and that's why I believe in Glow. Glow, I halo, I halo.
Much understand this is a fearless young man.
Fearless.
Yeah, it was a bit eerie for me because
I agree.
He mentioned several times about being willing to go to the ultimate place, which is obviously a fighter, you know.
He said die, Dre.
He did. And listen, we all give pause with especially the year that's happened in boxing, especially considering who his trainer is, Buddy McGirt, who had to deal with an in-ring death.
That too, but he kept saying, I don't mind going there, I don't mind going there. And I asked him, I said, where does that come from? And he pointed to his background, but it still just seemed a little odd to me.
At one point, he said that he does not believe that Steven Nelson has the heart that he has. He said, I have no fear, I only have ambition.
I mean, that's fine and Danny. You can have no fear, no ambition, but you better have some boxing skills to go along with that if you want to survive in this business.
Nelson looking for the counter opportunity with the right hand. He's outworked Kilic so far in this first round. Nelson 15-0 with 12 knockouts, trying to put himself in position for a chance at a super middleweight title. Coming up, the very talented Jesse Hart, determined to avenge the loss his idol Bernard Hopkins suffered at the hands of Joe Smith. Smith can flat out punch. The recent world title challengers meet in an important light heavyweight main event. And the latest on the heavyweight championship showdown. Why did Tyson Fury change trainers? We will hear from him and discuss Wilder Fury 2. Glad you're with us from here in Atlantic City. Joe, Dre, and Tim with you. Good-looking main event, plus the news on Tyson Fury. So Jesse Hart says this is for Bernard Hopkins. That's the motivation. Hopkins was knocked out. Now he wants to avenge that.
I believe it, and I think it's good. Extra motivation in a sport like this is not a bad thing, but if you don't channel it the right way, it gets you out of your game, it gets you unfocused. He can find himself, and I'm talking Jesse Hart, walking into a right hand from
Hart
Smith.
is going to need all of that motivation he can get because he's in there with a bona fide light heavyweight, somebody that's proven himself over and over, someone that beat his idol. Joe Smith has punching power, and he's coming to take it to Jesse Hart tonight.
And Joe Smith can flat out crack. That is the one thing he does well. Hart, the superior boxer, very experienced at the top level. The winner of that fight, and you look at the landscape at 175 pounds, the winner of that fight tonight could be lined up to get a shot in the WBO. Remember, Canelo Alvarez recently vacated that belt at 175 pounds, so there's a little bit of wiggle room to have an opportunity and fight for a vacant title, and we will see if one of those 175-pounders can close in on that. That is our main event still to come. This is round 2 between Nelson and Kilic.
Nelson looking to be the counterpuncher right now. You know, he's darting in with his jab at times. You know, he's really focusing right now on Kilic's body. But I love the combinations he's throwing, especially when he makes Kilic miss.
I think Steven Nelson is doing it all right now. He's leading and he's countering. And the problem Kilic is having right now is he's facing the best competition that he's fought in his professional career. If you look at his record, he's fought some good fights, but he hasn't really fought a lot of good fighters. Last fight was a decent fighter, but if you look at the totality of his career, not a lot of good names on that record.
Good body shot right there from Nelson.
But he's durable, he's tough. And I'm trying to wonder if he's not warmed up right now, if he's taking a round or two to get warmed up, or if it's just Nelson and his boxing ability.
It's boxing ability, Dre. You know, he's getting contained outside with the jab, and then he's getting countered. Every time he makes a mistake, he steps in, lunges forward, and Nelson is there for the counter. Oh, Nelson was hit right there with a nice little left hook.
And there's a straight right hand as Nelson then fires back. Cem KILIC is the son of a Turkish immigrant, but he grew up in Germany. Came to the U.S. in May of 2014.
No pushing, no pushing.
The body of Kilic is a little soft. If I'm Steven Nelson, I'm going down there with jabs right to the gut, right hands around the side, and left hooks around the side as often as possible.
Kilic checked in just under 168, came in at 167.6, but he's a natural middleweight. Remember, we told you Steven Nelson is from Omaha, Nebraska, the home of the welterweight champion Bud Crawford. They have a dynamic relationship. As for how that all began, here at the end of round number 2, we visit with Mark Kriegel. Mark?
Well, we're used to fighters coming out of the Crawford camp, but the first guy was Steve Nelson. Years ago, what solidified their friendship was a night hanging out at a gas station when Nelson was 17. He was a gang member about to fight with, by his account, 20 guys. Crawford was unaffiliated, but he didn't like the odds, and he liked Nelson. The guys stepped to Nelson. Crawford stepped to all of them, and what he describes Nelson does is a scene like a Bruce Lee movie. The end of it with 20 or so guys writhing in pain at a gas station in Omaha.
I can only imagine Bud Crawford clearing everybody out. So that is the relationship between Nelson and Crawford. You also saw Jamel Herring, the junior lightweight world champion, sitting ringside. It is fascinating to consider what has developed off of now. You know, we got the coaching trees in football, right? You have the fighter tree now in Omaha, Nebraska, based on Bud Crawford, a place that had never produced elite fighters, and now elite fighters are heading there just to be around what's going on with Crawford and Bomac.
That's what success does. You know, Tess, you know, when you have one guy that's really successful, he's one of the best fighters in the world, everybody wants to be a part of that.
And then there's Steven Nelson, who is a homegrown guy now at 15-0 with 12 knockouts.
You know, you hear about a lot of guys, you know, coming to the fighter meeting talking about, oh, I sparred this guy to get ready for this guy, I helped this guy. You know, Kilic has sparred Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Earl Spence, Jamel Charlo, Pascal, you know, and you would think that he would have gathered some knowledge sparring these guys, you know, and his temperament, watching them at the moment, it's honestly, Dre, it's just a sparring partner mentality to me, man. He looks like a sparring partner in there to me.
I don't know if it's that, Tim. It could be. I just think he's getting tamed right now from just subtle movements from Nelson. A jab, feints, and then when he thinks Nelson is going to move away, Nelson attacks. When he thinks Nelson is going to attack, he moves away. Nelson is sneaky good. I had him in camp before. He gave me a great work in camp, and I can attest to, you know, he's better than what he looks on the outside. I'll just put it like that. So I think that's the gist of what Kilic is dealing with.
Dre, I want to get into that a little bit with you in a moment. But first, I want to check in with Bernardo Osuna, who was listening into the corner of Kilic and trainer Buddy McGirt. Bernie?
Yeah, Buddy kind of has the same perspective as Andre. He said, look, we need to back this guy up because he's actually very effective. We can't jab to the body because he's really good with the overhand right. So Kilic needs to keep the hands up so that he can't counter.
Just saw an example of that right hand from Nelson. Didn't land, but a willingness to fire it. Dre, you mentioned the fact that Steven Nelson gave you good work in camp. How far removed, and what do you see of him now compared to the guy you saw then?
I mean, I just think he's more seasoned. He's more settled. He's more comfortable in his skin. You know, he's obviously, that was, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So he just looks just more sure of himself. Simply put, Joe, I think he's starting to believe that he belongs and he deserves a strap around his waist.
He was 2012 Team USA Olympic alternate. Dropped a very close decision to the eventual Olympian Marcus Brown in the finals of the U.S. Nationals. Nelson off to a very good start here. Coming to the end of round 3, scheduled for 10, and then that'll be the light heavyweight showdown of Smith and Hart.
America, eat your heart out. Marco's is America's most loved pizza. Try our specialty pizzas.
Nelson landed 25 of 63 power shots thrown, including that left uppercut at the end of the round.
Watch this uppercut that Nelson lands on Kilic here. Both guys right in front of him, front of each other right there. Nelson shoots a nice uppercut right up the middle. Let me reverse that for you. Watch Kilic lean forward just a tad bit, trying to throw a body shot, leaves himself exposed and gets hit with this clean uppercut by Nelson. One more time.
Dre, have we given Timmy the controls to the?
You got me the controls. Look at that beautiful uppercut right there. Full range, baby.
Am I seeing a clicker in his hand?
I'm a little nervous.
Clicker, baby.
Now on the inside here in round 5 as Kilic trying to return fire with Nelson. Nelson long range right hand. You heard Buddy McGirt, by the way, between rounds saying when you get to that close range, telling Cem KILIC, you have to go to the body.
He's not listening, Tess.
Let's check in with Bernardo.
And this is exactly the fight Bomac does not want Nelson in. He says, look, this guy's a lumberjack. All he wants to do is get into a firefight and get lucky. He wants him to keep fighting and keep boxing instead of getting in there in this type of exchange.
Never a shortage of boxing descriptives out of Bomac. Brian McIntyre, the Omaha-based trainer who handles Steven Nelson's corner, calling Cem KILIC a lumberjack. Just a guy trying to stay in front looking to chop wood.
I don't mind Nelson staying there.
There's that uppercut again,
Joe, and fighting if he knows why he's there, and then get back to boxing. I don't think he has to box exclusively.
A little bit of loose tape on the left wrist of Kilic. Let's take a look at Andre Ward's scorecard. Clean sweep early on for Nelson. Easy to score, 40-36. The left hand that lands as Kilic was standing right in front.
One of the things that Brian McIntyre and Steve Nelson said about Kilic was that he's basic, and he has done nothing to this point to disprove that. He can't even come in behind the jab. What's more, he looks tired. At this point, I agree wholeheartedly with Dre's scorecard. He's got to knock him out. He's not going to win on points.
Well, he's going to get a little breather because of that left hand. That tape is starting to unravel.
Referee David Fields not stopping because of it yet, but you would have to think at a certain point he would. Two-punch combination from Steven Nelson. And the beat goes on and on as Nelson in control as we come to the halfway mark here.
WeatherTech is known for providing the ultimate protection for your vehicle. With
a guy who can take it to the head. I mean, I can't explain this, but some guys can take shots to the head all night long, but you start touching them to the body, ripping them to the side with right hands and left hook, sticking them in the gut with the jab, and all of a sudden you see a different type of fighter. And every time Nelson goes to the body, you see Kilic take a backward step and have to regroup.
Yeah, you see a fighter who will lack legs and lose out on the lungs.
You know, you see the left eye of Kilic starting to swell. You know, you're going to see more and more right hands come from Nelson because that thing is slowly closing, Dre. Slowly. Ooh.
Kilic told us in the fighter meeting that he didn't think Nelson can deal with the pressure. He didn't think he had the heart that he had, and we need to see some of that on display right now from Kilic.
It's all the body shots he's taking.
It's the body and the head.
Starting to accumulate. Wearing them down.
Kilic has been a sparring partner. He's been with Cotto and Vosdik and Kovalev through the years. Right now, if he wants to define his own path, he needs to find an answer right now and just sell out and go for it.
He's getting in range, but he needs to let his hands go.
Absolutely, he does. Instead, every time he crosses that threshold, it's Nelson who's letting his hands go. Takes advantage of those opportunities as he did right there. Coming to the end of 6. You heard me correctly, the Grinch-themed trunks, trying to stay undefeated, and he has been in control throughout the entire night against the 14-0 German but LA-based Cem KILIC, a 160-49 connect advantage on punches. A reminder that still to come will be our light heavyweight showdown between Jesse Hart and Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr., who knocked out Bernard Hopkins at the end of Hopkins' career. Jesse Hart, who has grown up idolizing his fellow Philly fighter Bernard Hopkins and is extra motivated for this main event still to come your way. Plus, in a moment, we will have the latest news and analysis on what will be the heavyweight showdown February 22nd, Wilder Fury 2.
Nelson cannot miss with an uppercut. Every uppercut he just about throws, it lands. Why? Because Kilic is leaning forward over the knee. You cannot lean forward over your front knee. If you do so, just like Kilic is doing, you will eat uppercuts.
It's like putting the golf ball on the tee and waiting for the driver to hit it. You don't want your head to be the golf ball.
I'm waiting on Nelson to line him up with the right uppercut.
Boy, I like the right uppercut to the body, too. He has thrown the uppercut to the body with a lot of success.
Well, tonight, fellas, Kilic's head has been the golf ball, just like that.
Look at that. He's taking too much punishment. And for my liking, I mean, he's in the fight. He's fighting back. But he's taking some clean power shots from Nelson.
Well, he's getting good advice from his corner. He just has to listen to it. Bernardo is with Buddy McGirt.
Buddy, you told me something that worried you about the way that Kilic was responding to you.
Yes, you know, he asked me, what do I do? So I'm at the point now I'm keeping a very close eye on him. And see how he responds the next round, and sort of if I don't like it, you know, pull the plug.
What can he do to change and stem the tide here?
You got to make it a dogfight right about now. I mean, he's not, you know, he's asked me, can he outbox the guy? No, you got to make this a dogfight now. You're 5-6 rounds down. You can't try to send out box the guy. The guy's catching him on the outside with long punches.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Now, Buddy McGirt, being a veteran guy that he is, and you see the sustained damage being done to his fighter, I think giving a very honest assessment here in round number 7.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the energy to give it a dogfight. I mean, he's throwing one punch at a time. He's throwing arm punches. Kilic is.
That's good work that time by
Nelson.
Nelson.
To the body. He's getting beat down to the body. He's unable.
You see the reaction from Kilic when he gets hit to the body. It's a different reaction than when he gets hit to the head.
That
Nelson
series of punches right there, Dre, with the body work really showed it, didn't it?
It's visible.
And at 7.
Come one, come all.
Huh? All right. So if you don't show me something this round, I'm going to pull the plug. You understand me? Okay. How we doing, man? We good? I'm going to give it one more round. Show me something. Give one more round and show me something. Check him out. Huh? Okay. I need more punches. You got to show me something.
Buddy McGirt saying, I'm going to give it one more round and I'm going to pull the plug if you don't show me something. Maxim Dadashov passed away last year. Buddy McGirt was the trainer of Maxim. And that was a fight in which there was a lot of sustained punishment. Far worse than what you're seeing here tonight. But it affects somebody. And Buddy McGirt is very aware of what can happen in the ring, as he has had to live through the tortures of that.
You touched on it earlier, Dre, about the mouth being open on Nelson. You know, that's a really bad habit. I mean, if he gets hit at the right point at the right time, he can get his jaw broken. You know, that's why the mouthpiece is in your mouth. You need to bite down on that mouthpiece so you don't get your jaw broken.
But Kilic is not putting him in that position tonight because he's not throwing enough and he's not landing nearly enough. So I think tonight he might be all right. Joe, I really think Nelson is in a position right now where he can do what he wants to do. The guy's reputation and how he fought previously before he fought you, that's one thing. But at a certain point in the fight, you cut to the chase and you step to a guy when you have him in a position that Kilic is in and you try to get a stoppage.
He's going for it right now, Dre. He just landed a beautiful right hand over the top. But he just has to continue to stay consistent.
Had the right hand to the top and then the combination with the body work. Halfway through round number 8. We'll see if Nelson can come up with that stoppage. There's that right hand again. Well placed, and Buddy McGirt's going to come up to the apron after that big right hand and wave this off, and it's going to be a TKO victory for Steven Nelson. Had the first big right hand.